And let's get to talking. Anyway, you're still listening to Africa on Focus. I have with me a special guest. It's a little over 8 o'clock, so I guess right. It's time to finally talk about stuff. Should we? I have a special guest who needs no introduction. He's going to introduce himself in a little bit. We're going to know more about him and what he does. And that special guest is Terry Afram. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much, Christina.
Now, I was a little too late with having the applause, showing up, but I'm giving an applause in my head. So just to let you know. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am also doing very good. I just heard, because you told me you just flew in right now. This morning you flew in, isn't it? You came especially for this interview. We flew from Ghana. Listen, those are the major things that we do here on High Radio. We have people flying in, and that includes even Shatawale coming next week. When did you come?
I came last week.
Last week. Oh, okay. Yeah. That is cool. That's good. So how is Holland treating you thus far?
It's cold. It's way too cold. But no, I think apart from that, it's good. It's it's good to see my family again.
Yeah.
And, to see a few friends again and stuff. So it's good. Yeah. It's good, but it's just too cold. Yeah.
That is the only thing.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, you have your friends and your family here. Is there anything else that you missed that you're like, you know what, I need that? Like food, for instance. What type of food would you be like, when I'm in Holland, I'm having that?
Yeah. I'd say, cheese. I'd say cheese.
Cheese, all right.
Yeah. So
Jong belega.
Yes. Like a proper toasty or something. You don't really have that over there. Well, I think you do have, but I mean, it's not as accessible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like crazy expensive because it's probably imported.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So I'm assuming that when you go back, you're taking on stocks of cheese with you. And how was your Sunday? I mean, it's relaxing to many of us. What did you do?
It was good. I went to church in the morning, and then afterwards went to family. Spoke with family members, and then headed over to this place.
Yeah. So you did some catching up.
Yeah.
How was church?
It was good. It was a really interesting service.
Okay.
So,
I won't ask you what the service was about. Don't worry.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, well, I slightly introduced you to our listeners. You are a Dutch professional and, Dutch-Ghanaian, as we would say. And you used to be based in the Netherlands. And now you've moved back. You've taken on a career as managing director of Jumia Foods, which is like one of the companies that's doing major, especially probably in the area of logistics and food, right?
Yeah.
As we would say. So with all of that, being young and motivated as you are, we would like to know, like, who is Terry? Tell us a bit about that.
All right. Okay. So Terry's a child of God.
That's a good one.
He's a child of God.
COG.
So I'm Terry. At the moment, I'm the country managing director for Jumia Food Ghana. Before that, I used to live in the Netherlands. Used to live in South Africa as well.
Also, really?
Yeah. Worked there as an investment banker at Goldman Sachs. But I've always been passionate about Africa. And I've always been able to, or have always aspired to use my God-given abilities to do the seemingly impossible. That's a particular statement or a mantra.
Yeah.
I live by. I have it in my room. And it's basically just using whatever God gave you.
You have it written on your wall.
Yes.
All right.
To do the seemingly impossible. Yeah. So that's Terry.
Got it. So were you born and raised in the Netherlands?
Yes. So I was born and raised in the Netherlands in Amsterdam. Then at some point moved to Hoofddorp and then studied in Rotterdam.
You escaped the craziness of the city.
Yeah. And then at some point moved to Johannesburg, and then from Johannesburg moved to Accra.
Okay, so you kept it African.
I kept it African indeed. Yeah.
All right. So where are you from? Like, who your daddy? Who your mom?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Yes. So
Like really from?
yes. So my parents come from a little town called Quill
Okay.
in the eastern region, or Bombing Quill.
Okay.
In the eastern region, and yeah, we're very proud to be close. Obviously, we're Ghanaians, but I mean, we are so close.
To be that sets its own standard like that.
Asiaba,
Got
gotta
it.
represent. Yeah.
Don't you like have a uniform or something like,
No.
or an emblem or whatever?
I think
Okay.
I think they do have like particular cloths like around
Okay.
around Easter and stuff. But now I have no
Okay.
idea.
Because the way you're saying it, I'm sure it deserves some merchandise or something. Right.
Yeah.
So that's where your parents are from.
That's where my parents are from.
And
yeah.
their road to the Netherlands, can you tell us a little bit about that? When did
Their
they
road?
come? Yeah.
Okay, so they came as teenagers, and then they
Oh.
also came with their parents. So my mom came with her parents, and then my dad came with his brothers. Yeah, so that's about it. So they came as teenagers and basically met here. And I mean,
And there you were. Okay.
you know, yeah,
So there's two generations of immigrants, as they would say.
yeah.
That's quite unique, because I think that averagely most of us are where our age group is now is probably the second generation
Yeah.
of Ghanaians being here. So that is quite rare, as
Yeah.
one would say that, hey, you know what, my grandma came
Yeah.
here as well.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's like of our age group, it's then our parents
That's the
that
parents'
came.
story, yeah.
That's an inspiring story. And what about your profession, your education?
Yeah.
Where was that? Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so I studied the International Bachelor of Economics and Business Economics.
Business economics, right?
Yes, at the Erasmus University in Rotterdam. And after completing that course, I pursued a master's in financial economics. So the reason why I chose the first course, IBEP, which was an international course, is that
Yeah.
I didn't want to be limited to the Netherlands. Right, like I already knew that I wanted to do something outside of the Netherlands. I mean, I
Yeah.
love the Netherlands. Don't get me wrong, but there's much more outside of this country.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I'd always been interested in pursuing something outside the borders of this country.
Yeah.
And I also knew I wanted to become an investment banker at first. And so that's why I chose to pursue a master's in financial economics. So that is about my
I see.
my education.
So that area of finance, like when and how did you discover that area of finance was suitable for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was always fascinated about like banking, right, and particularly investment banking, due to the fact that I thought that investment banking was a particular division in banking that merged entrepreneurship and merged sales and merged plain vanilla banking. And so that's why I pursued investment banking. And I always said investment banking is basically sales on a different kind of level, right? Because as an investment banker, you advise companies on selling and buying other companies, right? And so in order to do so, you'd have to be able to think about value drivers of a company, think how to be able to get a company to grow, and you're basically merging entrepreneurship and finance in
one.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to be a good salesperson.
I'd say so. Yes.
You would.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
That's a creative, or it's not creative at all. That is, I admire people who do finance in the first place, because it feels like it has this image or a reputation that it's the workload is much. Would you call that to be true?
That is
How do you
100%
feel?
true. That is 100% true. I mean, I loved my time at so I worked at Goldman Sachs. That's an American investment bank. And did so in Johannesburg because I wanted to work on sub-Saharan African deals, in mergers and acquisitions. But I think the workload was. I think that's something. Like if you're to speak about the pros and cons of investment banking, that's like a major negative that is on each and everyone's list, right? I'd be working from 9 a.m. typically around 9 a.m.
Yeah.
and I'd be going home around 3
in the morning.
a.m. indeed.
Oh gosh.
And that's like a regular day, and like if you're doing that 6 days straight, because I think our only free day was the Saturday. And sometimes even if it was a really busy period, you'd always have to come in on a Saturday. So basically every single thing you were doing was banking each and every day.
It's life.
It was pretty intense. As much as I loved that which I was doing, and the fact that I was there where I wanted to be, because it was one of my dreams to actually work at Goldman Sachs. So I was quite pumped about being able to do so. The workload was quite how should I put it? Quite intense.
It was intense. Yeah. And you also spoke earlier about your interest for Africa, sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because one would actually say that, hey, you're living here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to stay in the West?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Yeah, I think at some point, everyone kind of has some kind of idea of what gives the person energy, right?
Yeah.
And so whenever there would be something on Africa on TV, for example, BBC, CNN, Focus on Africa, like these kinds of shows like your own.
Hey.
These would be things that would fascinate me. These would be things that would give me energy. And I don't think there's any presentation that I haven't done on Africa. Or let me phrase it differently. Like whenever there was a presentation I had to do in school or some kind of thesis, it would always circle around Africa.
I have the same thing.
Right?
We had what's it called? I don't know the English word for it. We call it spreekbeurt.
Yes, exactly.
It would always, almost every year would be about Ghana.
Exactly. So there you have
it. So what do you think contributed to that? Because obviously, being young and, having the time for everything, because being a kid, no bills, all of that. That's the best period of life.
Definitely.
How do you think that comes about with anyone's interest in Africa foremost?
Yeah. So I'd say, I don't think you can explain it proper, right? It's just something you feel inside, right? Because there's so many people that are also African or of African descent, but don't really have that energy when you speak about Africa. So I think it's something that is just...
It's like a burning flame. Got it. But and was there an instant where maybe from home, how was that at home? Did your parents focus specifically on going back, or how was that?
Yeah. No, so my parents indeed always kind of made sure that we understood where we came from. I think that has also been pivotal in my choice to go back to Ghana right now. And they also always kind of did some things back home, and you always see them going back and forth and doing something. So I'm sure that these things also kind of inspire you to look at what is actually there.
Gotcha. Totally agree. Had the same thing.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting here talking about Africa.
Right.
We're going to be right back in a little bit because I just want to listen to a song. I don't know. I just feel like doing that right now. And then we're going to be back to talk to Terry about being a Dutch-Ghanaian professional. He's, within our theme called Brafier, which is Come Home, he was born and raised in the Netherlands, and now he's based in Ghana. On to career, major things and stuff. How that comes about and what it takes to finally make that decision to go back home. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, you might want to listen to TikTok. Yes, TikTok is one of the legendary Ghanaian artists, and he's coming back strong, collaborating with a new school artist, Kwame Eugene, a remake of a classic called Kwane. A special team, Brafier. And I explained to you earlier that within the theme of diasporans coming back or coming to Ghana and venturing into new things, whether that be business, tourism, vacation, and whatnots. I think this is a great opportunity to make a lot more people aware of how beautiful our continent is and excite more people to be involved with our nation, Ghana, and the African continent as a whole. Today is a Ghana-themed day. I realized that within listing all of my songs, Kwame Eugene and Kitty come up 10 times or something. They're taking over my freaking song list. I need to do something about that. Anyway, for those of you who are listening to Africa on Focus, I am Miss Abba. This is the place where I get to share success stories one by one. Every week, I have a special guest on the show who is of African descent and who is making quite some moves. They get to talk to us about how we can achieve and create success. First and foremost, I just want to give a shout out to Frida. Frida, thank you so much for tuning in. Also, Salovena Latte, thank you for tuning in and taking the time out to listen. One of my aunties, Emilia Duku. Auntie, thank you for listening right now. Now, I am talking to Terry Afram, and I want my Facebook listeners to know that you can drop some questions in the comment box. Let us know how you're feeling. How do you think this interview is going? What else would you like to know? Are there any questions? Do you have comments on the Brafier concept? Would you move back to your country of origin, your African country of origin? Let us know. Express something. And of course, in about 15 minutes, we also get to talk and ask Terry, who I have here with me, some questions about what he is doing. Now, first of all, Terry, before we're going to go into, how African you are, you have a special announcement. You have an event coming up.
Yes.
I just saw it today on my Instagram, and I saw the beautiful flyer.
Appreciate that.
What is that about? Tell me.
Yes. All right. So on the 30th of this month, 30th of November, we're organizing the Ghanaian Dream. And so it's a seminar that aims to educate and inform the Ghanaian diaspora on what it is like to live in Ghana and to work in Ghana and to do business in Ghana. So there's quite some Ghanaian diaspora in the Netherlands. And also outside of the Netherlands, though. But now specifically in the Netherlands that are interested in learning about what it is like to make that move to Ghana. It's something that I get quite some messages on Instagram, on like through connections. I have a lot of phone calls with people on what it is like to move to Ghana. So. I thought it might work to actually have such a seminar to get everyone that is interested in making that move educated in one go, basically. Yeah.
And so, if I understand it correctly, because you, when did you decide to move back?
Yeah. There was super. I wouldn't say super random, but so I was working at Goldman Sachs back then, and then at some point,
Johannesburg.
Yes, and then it got headhunted by the founder, right? The founder of this business.
Headhunted.
Yes. So I got a message, and I had to speak to the person, and then we spoke. And at first, I wasn't really interested, right? Like I knew that at some point I wanted to come to Ghana, but then. The way I kind of set it out in my mind was that I would go back in maybe 2 years or something. I'd work at Goldman for 2 years or 3 years, and then afterwards
just build up some more experience.
Maybe go into private equity, and then after private equity, then go into doing something for myself in Ghana. But then the opportunity presented itself, and it looked like a nice opportunity, right? To be managing a company.
Blessings located you.
Country. Amen.
So that is probably the reason why people come to you, right, with the questions as to what does it take for me to work in Ghana.
Yeah.
So what kind of questions do you get that made you think, you know what, I'm going to organize an event in Amsterdam?
Yeah. So typically the questions I get are more about like what it's like to live, right? What it is like to live in Ghana. Obviously it's a completely different culture than the one you might be privy to right now. And so most questions are about culture, and then also some questions are about like job opportunities. Like some want to actually experience what it is like to work in Ghana. Before I actually moved to Ghana proper. I actually did an internship at some point. It was, I think, 6 years ago or something.
Yeah.
At a bank, Stanbic Bank, in Ghana. So that was my first proper work stint in Ghana. And so these questions are always around like, okay, how do I get in, and what it is like how do you experience living in Ghana now?
Okay, so we have this event coming up, 30th of November. What can people expect on that day?
Yeah, so it's indeed the 30th of November, holiday in Arena Towers, 7 p.m. What people can expect is to hear from speakers, a wide range of speakers that have made that move at some point, right?
A move down.
Yes, to the motherland. And they'll be sharing their stories, and so you can ask whatever questions you'd want to ask. At the same time, I'll also be collecting CVs. At some point, you can actually put in your CV, and if you're interested in actually making that move, we can talk further on that as well. And so it's going to be questions and answers and presentations, and there's some nice partners, right, that are also going to come on board and going to give those that come some nice things. I can't say too much right now.
You're just giving a sneak peek.
Yeah. So there's a lot that's going to happen on that day. So I definitely want to invite each and everyone hearing this to definitely be a part of this this event. And then also this is supported by the president's office as well, right? And so as you might have seen on the internet, 2019 has been dubbed the year of the return.
Yep.
Might not necessarily be associated to the Ghanaian diaspora as in like the actual Ghanaian diaspora, because I think the first association is with like slave trade and like African Americans.
Yeah, it
and
is.
Stuff.
It is.
But like if we take the wider context, I'm sure we can include Ghanaian diaspora.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
And include different segments, as in terms of entertainment, fashion, the arts. Because if you look now, and that was a song I played earlier, was the Fuse ODG song, collaborating with Damian Marley and his kind of outcry and calling everybody who's of African descent to come back and involve themselves. So I think that the coming event that you have is a creative form of calling all African people to unite and come back to in this case Ghana.
Yeah.
I would like to know, because you moved back, you explained the opportunity presented itself to you while you worked in Johannesburg. How was your first working day in Ghana? I would like to know how was your starting experience, your perspective, your mind, your expectancy. Tell us all about that.
Yeah. No, my first working day, it's like two years ago now. Yeah, so I do remember that I came to Ghana and I think I had to work the next day. So I came on the Sunday and then I had to start on the Monday, and it was funny, right?
Yeah, it is, because it's like you just can't get to work.
yeah. And normally like you come to Ghana in a different context, right? You come for holidays and then leave again. But now obviously you had to get to see how to best get yourself inside the culture, get to understand those you're working with, get to understand the context of where you actually are, because it's a completely different kind of environment than you might be known to. Yeah. And so there's all sorts of how should I put it? There's all sorts of things that you might not necessarily think or have to think about here that you have to think about there. All right. And so it was really interesting. It was really interesting, but it was good. I mean, for myself, I must say I had good mentors, right? Like that's a really important piece of advice that I'd give each and every one.
Having mentors.
Wanting to make that decision to actually move down, speak to people, right? Like there's so many people that actually have made the move at some point, and it would be a shame to just make that move uneducated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because there's quite some people also that make that move and then after a week decide to come back because they can't cope.
A week? That's quick.
Right?
Gosh.
And it's all about preparation. If you prepare yourself, it's much easier to actually stay. Because it can be challenging. It can be proper challenging. Yeah.
So you just mentioned earlier there are a couple of things that you need to be watchful of that you don't necessarily have to be watchful of here.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of that?
Yeah. Well, all sorts of stuff. Things like unstable electricity, making sure that like you prepare for, I wouldn't say prepare for the worst, but prepare for inefficiencies, right? Like you have to make sure that, let's say, the next day, depending on whether you have a generator or not, but even if you have a generator, like putting the generator on is not the nicest thing, like the noise and stuff, right? So things like making sure that your clothes are ironed, right?
Yeah.
Like the night before. Such
And
that
for the ladies,
next
your
day-
hair is straightened and all that stuff.
You know, there's so many things that you kind of have to think of ahead of time, knowing that, okay, if that's not, like, if there's a light off by this and this time, like, I wouldn't be in a bad position. So that's one thing. Traffic is something I really had to deal with, right? It's something I myself don't like, is losing time on anything. So sitting in traffic, not being able to do anything, you're literally not moving, it's hot, that can be quite frustrating. So that's something that you have to kind of take into account as well. Some bad roads, there's I mean, I don't want to paint a completely negative picture, but
I got you. Yeah.
there's quite some things that you might come across there that you wouldn't have here.
That are quite of a contrast to one of the thing that I've also noticed. I have not worked in Ghana as you have, like being on the ground for like 2 years, but have been going on and off for projects and things.
Yeah.
Is that if you think that things will go fast paced, like having several meetings on a day, you'll be like highly disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are one of the things, or I think one of the lessons that I just changed very quick.
Yeah.
I tried it one day and I was like, no, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And I had cousins who relocated as well, but then from UK were like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Like even if you have 2 appointments, you make sure they're in the same building and figure that out.
Yeah.
So those are one of the things that you run into, and what I've noticed as well is that people that, you know, love the fast pace of things, the forwardness, straightforwardness, you know, being able to count on people's word, and being able to have an honest explanation, or, you know, is the deal going to work out or not? You know, I think that for some people who aren't prepared, they can like develop a certain frustration, you know, and also is that I've run into people that come into Ghana and just want to change their environment, and I told them, well, like, it doesn't work like that. Have you encountered that type of issue as well?
As in wanting to change
change, or running into somebody or working with somebody that, you know, wants to change their environment and rather prove others how things should be done.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yes, no, definitely. You would find people that come and would want to basically show how it's actually done.
What is your advice to them?
I mean, it's good to try to change particular things for the better. But you can only change things when you understand why things are like that, right? And to I mean, I think in order to effect change, you'd have to first connect with particular people and try to get on people's levels and get on people's motivations, and like try to understand why people are doing that which they're doing, and only then from that perspective you can change stuff. But and that's something that this is one of the things I advised myself before going there, that I had to make sure that I understood what was actually going on before doing anything, right? Like, speak to people, try to understand, okay, what is actually going on here. Try to understand the culture, try to understand why people are doing what they're doing, and then move from there, rather than to see, okay, well, this and this is going differently, or different than it would be in the country where I actually come from, or not necessarily actually come from, but the
where you were raised.
I was raised, exactly.
Holland in this case.
Because that doesn't really work. Like, if you just come with a perspective, okay, right now I'm coming here, I'm going to change this, and like, okay, this is different than the Netherlands, and this is going to be the same in the Netherlands. It's not going to work. So it's first appreciate where you are, understand the culture, understand the context, connect with the people that are there, and then move from there. But you can effect change, but that's again only if you make sure that you take the time to connect and take the time to understand where you are.
Yeah. And how was the working dynamic as a managing director, being new on the scene? Could you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah. No, that was quite interesting. I think that was quite okay, right?
Okay.
And it was quite okay. I think because I didn't take the perspective. Okay, I'm coming here with my Dutch self, trying to
Obviously,
change things.
because you came from Johannesburg.
Yes. But still, I mean, due to the fact that I was raised in the Netherlands,
Yeah.
it's easy for me to just take everything from a Dutch perspective.
Yeah.
But I made sure that I kind of connected right with people and understood where everyone was coming from, and I always tried to inspire people to do stuff rather than to get people afraid of me or something. You know, as much as you have to be tough at some points. At some point, I've had to be tough and I have to fire people and stuff. But it's easier to effect change if you actually inspire someone to do so, right?
Yeah.
If you have a connection with someone, and if the person feels respected and valued, the person would always work twice as hard for you and with you. If you're on like the same level, or if the person understands that you understand the person, kind of thing, right? So I think it's all about building connections and making sure that you understand where you are again.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, because I took the time to do so, it was easier for me to adapt.
Yeah.
And to work in that environment. Yeah.
So you are, well, let's say that you have a personality that can easily adapt to the new environment. Was it different from Johannesburg, by the way?
It was. Yes.
Okay.
I'd say Johannesburg is a completely different kind of Africa. From Accra.
I see.
Yeah.
That is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk later on a little bit more about why you think everybody should move to Africa, why you think people should take on the challenge on taking on a job or doing something as relating to Africa. And within the whole Brafier concept, how you feel about this rising interest to our African continents. So we're going to be right back. But first, we are listening to a little bit of Woman Power by Nanaya, who is not an upcoming artist. She's the legendary Ghanaian artist. I know the old school people know them. I know them. You should know them. And she's the daughter who has taken on a singing career as well and is doing so much right now. We're still talking to Terry Afram, who is the managing director of Jumia Food Ghana. Jumia Food Ghana is, for those people who don't know, how could we shortly explain like what the company is about?
Yes. So Jumia Food Ghana is Ghana's leading online food delivery service. So it's equivalent to services like Das Resort, which you'd have here, or Deliveroo or Uber Eats, right? So we connect restaurants and meals to those at home and those in offices, basically.
A super growing company.
Yeah. We can't complain.
which means the company is growing, you're making more money, and about that as well. Well, you just talked to us about your working experience, traveling from Johannesburg. That's where you worked.
Yeah.
Then going on to Ghana. The opportunity presented itself to you. You got the job offer to be managing director now for 2 years, which is amazing because they say that when you have gone through your first year, then you can properly say that you could stay there as you have located for many more years to come,
right,
as they would say. Which are the other things that you do? Because I see you have a nice outfit on. It's like shiny. Tell us a bit about other things that you also are doing.
Yeah. So indeed, I mean, Ghana, that's one of the beautiful things. Just to jump in on that, that's one of the beautiful things in Ghana, right? Like you can do quite a lot, right? In quite short of a time. So one of the other things I do is kaftans. So I sell kaftans, luxury kaftans. That's the one I'm wearing myself right now.
Okay. So luxury, what does that mean? Does it mean it's more expensive? Does it mean the quality is,
Yeah, so it's all about quality. Like whenever I do something, or whenever I produce something, I should be able to wear it myself as well, and I should be completely confident that I can give it to anyone, right? So I can give it to Obama, so to speak, right? I can give it to nana bravado, so to speak, right? And so everything is like everything is in the details. It's not something that I started today. It's been something I started quite a while ago, but I had to quit because the tailors I was working with were not necessarily stable, right? But now I found really, really good tailors that are working with me, and they are really good.
Creating jobs. That is one of an impactful thing you're doing, creating jobs.
Yeah. So these are nice kaftans that I sell both in Ghana and also in the Netherlands. So for now, mostly in the Netherlands and in Ghana. But hey, if there's people interested in getting these kaftans elsewhere, they hit me up.
So they can get it, and that's one of the ones that you're wearing.
Yes, and it's called Jinja. That's the brand.
Jinja.
Yes.
Okay, Jinja is Jin.
No. Ish, boy.
Doesn't matter.
Ginga. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And is it like has it already been launched? Can people already order some, or is it?
Yeah. So
which phase is it?
Yeah. So there's a relaunch. So it used to have another name, but now it's a relaunch. So we have a different name for it, a different logo, and so it will be launched very soon. It's like a proper public launch.
Yeah. So you're right now wearing the preview of what's to come.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I see.
Yes.
So for those of you who are listening and are also on Facebook, make sure that you drop a question to Terry and ask him what you want to know as relating to his working experience and moving back to Ghana. So how would you advise somebody to best go about if he wants to relocate to Ghana for work or business?
Yeah, I'd say firstly, like talk to people, right? Talk to people that actually made that move at some point. Talk to them, try to understand what it entailed in terms of like everything, right? Like cost of living. Challenges that they faced, like anything you'd want to ask them, such that you're equipped with good information. And then after networking, there's always opportunities, right? There's always opportunities. So let's say you're interested in working media, for example. Talk to people in media. If you're interested in working in banking, talk to people in banking. You know, it sounds really cliche, but your network is your net worth. Like
it's the truth.
And the thing is, like, the job I have now, it's not something that I interviewed for, as in like it's not something that I applied for.
No, it came and locate you. This is the type of lesson people would do all nights for. Come on.
Amen.
Hello.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's something that came out of the network, right? So make sure you build a good network. Make sure you speak to a lot of people. And that's the starting point. From there onwards, it's pretty. I wouldn't say pretty easy, but it's possible to get something you want.
All right. So any because I'm taking on just 2 questions before we're going to wrap it up. Well, first and foremost, I am reading a question, and that says, okay, are you considering to move back to the West?
I mean, for now, I'm good in Ghana. So
You're good. Okay, it's working.
I don't know. You know, these things you never know. But I'd say for now, I'm good in Ghana. And the thing is, like, traveling back and forth every now and then is okay for me.
It's a healthy move.
It's a good, because I must say though, like, Ghana, as much as I love Ghana, it is quite a roller coaster. I have days that I'm like, yes, this is the place to be, but I also have days that I'm like, nah, I didn't sign up for this. Right? So then that quick getaway, coming back to the West every now and then can be helpful. Yeah.
I see. And even one has a funny question: is Terry single? That is hilarious.
Right.
They want to know. Listen, these ladies want to know.
Yes, yes, yes. He is single.
He is single. Okay, okay. All right. Well, we're almost wrapping it up for Africa on Focus, and we just had a chit chat with Terry Afram, who is a perfect example of a Dutch Ghanaian professional who has taken the decision to move back to Ghana, and he's not thinking of coming back anytime soon. So that means things are going well. Okay. Last but not least, your event.
Yes.
First, where can people find you online? And your event, how can they find you? How can they sign up? What do they need to do to be there on the 30th of November?
All right. So let me answer the last question first. So it's going to be again on the 30th, Holiday Inn Arena Towers, at 7 p.m. And so there's a Instagram page called the Ghanaian Dream NL.
Okay.
So if you go to at the Ghanaian Dream NL, you'd find some information on it. Then there's a Facebook page that is being launched tomorrow. Same thing, the Ghanaian Dream. And then otherwise, you can also still send me an email on the Ghanaian Dream at terryafram.com. But then it's short, right? So I've shortened it into TGD at terryafram.com. And you can ask me whatever questions on that.
I'll make sure I drop the links in the comment box on Facebook. So if you're looking for that, then go to the High Radio Facebook page. I've shared the Ghanaian Dream Instagram page and your own, obviously.
Yes.
And, well, the 30th of November, drum rolls. Why should people come on and be there?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be a seminar, a really nice seminar that is and supported also by the president's office, the diaspora office. There's going to be very, very good speakers, with which you can, or with whom you'll be able to connect, and network. So it can be that first step. So I used to organize similar events. So I founded the African Business Day, which was a similar event, at the Erasmus University a few years ago. And there's quite some people that came to the event and are now either working on the continent, like actually working on the continent actually at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because of particular connections they made. There's another friend of mine that, for example, connected with one of the speakers and had been working with one of the speakers ever since.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's all about making connections and making sure that you're educated about that which you're interested in.
Yeah.
We're also going to share some, tips. One of the other things that I wanted to mention is that, so apart from the kaftan thing, there's another thing that we're starting. So me and a few friends of mine, also Dutch-Ghanaian friends that came back, we started a fund. So we're all from finance and, returns in...
Money people.
returns in the motherland are way higher than returns in the West, right? And so if you understand that game and if you understand where to put your money, it can be fruitful. So we started a fund called Rich Soil Investments, and we'll also be speaking about rich soil investments, and how the Ghanaian diaspora in the Netherlands would be able to benefit from the opportunities back in the motherland, as we are doing ourselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so much.
As Cardi B would say, making money moves, like no jokes. Well, so far, Terry, I would like to thank you so much for flying in, especially for this interview.
Not a problem.
of being here on Africa on Focus. It is exactly 9 p.m. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be logging off. As this is the end of the show, because I have my producer come in to me like, listen, you're taking the time. Anyway, make sure that also you follow Terry. I dropped his Instagram page in the comment box. If you want to find out more about his event, coming on the 30th of November, which is an event for anybody that wants to work, live, or do business or something in Ghana. It's coming from people that know. It's coming from people that are experienced. It's coming from somebody who has a working experience from here to there, who is young and who has been living there for the last 2 years and is not intending on coming back. So that means some good things. Taking place at the Holiday Inn in Amsterdam Southeast. Make sure that you attend and be a part. If any questions arise, of course, if you drop them in the comment box, I'll make sure that I will direct you to the right place. I am Miss Abba, and you're listening to High Radio. In the course of the week, we have other programs that are coming on. Drive Time every weekday with our producer, the CEO of Royal. On Fridays, we have Gary coming back with Bounce. Y Zone, weekly Y Zone. And, I'm hearing that Shatawale Wood, is coming to the studio. So you might not want to miss this. And of course, Jerry on the Saturdays, who has his Afro Beats show. This has come to the final Africa on Focus. Terry, so much. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to your, event, of course.
I appreciate that.
People, you can follow me on Instagram, Miss Abba, which is ms.aba. Look out for Africa Unfocused, the podcast, because in case you missed the show, you can also listen to the podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm logging off right now, and as this has been a theme all in, African focus, I am ending with Spice with her latest single called Black Hypocrisy, calling all of the black people to love themselves and stop showing favoritism to dark skin and light skin and all of that stuff. Anyway, I wish you so much love and so much blessings. Stay safe. Stay prayed up, and I will, we're going to be right back next week. All right. So, that will be it for now. Goodbye.